Alright, guys, so here... Alright, before I go any further, I should actually say, sometimes I think of a story idea just from a from something small and dumb and branch a whole idea out of it. Just from, like, just to have one scene. Like, to do an entire story based around one scene. So here we go. This is Gravity Falls Fire and Ice. Now, this is a story I did a little while ago, but I thought I'd talk about it again. With a little more stuff added to it. So, Gravity Falls Fire and Ice is a story where Dipper and Mabel have discovered a gem. Have discovered a like gem that is both warm and cold. Like, they both touch it. It's like one side's hot and one side's cold. And Ford explains, "Oh, this was a crystal I found in when I was out just traveling the world with Stan, and we discovered this gem and its history. It turns out that this was a gem that concealed the power of two dragons, a fire dragon and an ice dragon, that were terrorizing the European countryside until the two dragons were sealed inside this gem by a wizard. Well, Dipper and Mabel were handling it pretty roughly, and the gem broke. It cracked in half, and Dipper held one side and Mabel held the other side, and big magical explosion happens, and when the dust clears, Dipper now has like a white streak in his hair, and Mabel has a red streak in her hair. Not to mention, they now have fire and ice powers, respectively. So Mabel now has like pyrokinetic abilities, and Dipper has cryokinetic ice powers. So you may be thinking, oh, that's really cool, they've got like cool powers now. Well, it is cool. It is, like, fun for them, because Mabel's like, oh, I'm a superhero. I am unstoppable. And as they're learning to use their powers, everyone else in Gravity Falls is starting to notice that there's something a little different about all of them. They're starting to notice, like, changes to them. Like, Mabel is getting a little more aggressive. She's getting a little more intense with people. Like, she's getting a little shorter. Like, she's talking to Candy and Grenda, and then she just snaps at something at them, and she, like, gets angry, and the fire's starting to build in her fists. So she's like, I'm good. Don't talk to me again. Don't talk to me like that again, or I'll burn you. So there's that, and Dipper is also getting a lot cooler. Like, not only is his body temperature, but also like his persona. Like when he walks into a room, he knows all the right words to say, and he's like very suave and very calm about stuff. And like, I wanted to have this fun scene where like he walks into a room where Wendy and all of her friends are having a party, and Dipper leans up against the wall and goes, "Cool party." So yeah, I did want to have in this story where he makes all the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze puns. So you can clearly see that, but also the other thing about Dipper is that while he's getting more cool and suave, he's also getting a little more colder to people. He's getting a lot more, like, colder to people, like, he's losing, like, empathy to people, and problems. Like, when Mabel is getting more aggressive, they go to Dipper, and they're like, hey, can you talk to your sister and calm her down? And he's like, why? Why should I care? Like, I'm doing me, you know, whatever you got with my sister, that's your problem. Ciao. So that's what they're starting to notice, is that their powers are also affecting their personalities. Like, I wanted to have, like, one scene where Mabel is playing, like, volleyball with some other kids, and she beats them, and she breaks out the Azula line of, yes, we defeated you. You will never rise before your chances of, you know, your pain and humiliation. I butchered that line. It's hard to remember right off the top. But yeah, it's exactly that Azula line. So, as their powers are starting to grow, their fire and ice powers are really starting to grow, what happens, and this is the crux of the whole story, this is the legit crux of the entire story. Dipper and Mabel are going through the town, literally on opposite sides of the town, while singing the Heat Miser and Snow Miser song. Dipper singing the I'm Mr. Snow Miser, and Mabel singing she's singing the Heat Miser parts on opposite sides, while they're tearing the town apart with their fire and ice abilities. So that's the thing, is that was the whole story. That was literally the entire idea for the story. Was I want to think of this whole story just for that scene of Dipper and Mabel having fire and ice abilities, just so they can do the Heat and Snow Miser song from those Rankin Bass movies. It literally That was the whole idea. That was the whole premise of this story, was just so they could have I could do a scene of them just going, I'm Mr. Heat. No, I'm forgetting how. I'm Mr. Heat Wave. No. Fuck it. Don't listen to me. I clearly can't remember the song off the top of my head or sing it at all. Anyway. So the story is, so yeah, it's clear. It's also, like, people are starting to notice, like, Stan, Wendy, and all of them are especially starting to notice that Dipper and Mabel are, like, not only their personality changing, they're also, like, physically changing. Like, they're starting to notice, like, like, when Mabel pulls back her sleeve, like, they're starting to see scales on her arm, and Dipper is starting to have, like, like, his eyes are more reptilian now, and his teeth are growing like fangs. So yes, the two dragons that were sealed in the gems are now possessing the twins. They're now, like, possessing the twins, and it gets to a fever pitch where Dipper and Mabel get into a fight at the center of Gravity Falls, and they're just burning and freezing shit left and right. As the dragons are essentially controlling their bodies, they're manipulating them, and the only way to stop them was that Ford, Wendy, Stan, and Seuss had to use the gems and they have to forcibly get them to each hold the gem and put them back to, get them to put the gems back together, so that way they can pull the dragons out of them and put them back in the gem, which they inevitably do. So yeah. And by the end of it, Dipper and Mabel are like, oh, God, that was bad, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, everyone. Sorry. Anyway, so there you go. Like I said, this was just all a story that was essentially just something to come out of just one stupid scene, and this is where it all came from. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Like it, hate it, just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.